recording. Lovely. Um, but what is interesting is if we look at our liquidation map, you see that there's almost a one-to-one liquid in terms of ratio for liquidations, and you have these big clusters around here. So that tells me that you see we're going to see a lot of volatility today, even if it's just algorithms for this for tonight and maybe tomorrow, right? Let's look at the 7 day. It's also about one to one, but you can see that there are bigger clusters to the downside, which tells me that we're more likely to head down than we are to head up. 30 day, the imbalance is still to the upside, but you can see we have more liquidation clusters right here compared to the shorts. It's more enticing to go after this for market makers. Let's look at the cryptocurrency RSI heat map. Let's go to the 12 hour, and we see that the average RSI is about 41. Some coins that are really huge outliers. We got Trump, we got Pump, we got Aster, so those might be something we can look at. If we go to the 24 hour, uh, it's about the same. Actually, Tau is also pretty weak, so we can look at Tau as well. 1 week, we see stuff like Ondo. I know I gave a long on Ondo recently. So there's Ondo, World Liberty Finance, Atom Dot. We can definitely look at those things. So going to the liquidation heat map, you have about a little bit more short liquidations on the 24 hour than you do longs. If we go to the 48 hour, you can see the hotspots are all to the top, but what we've been sort of eyeing is this 3 day for a while, where we basically got a big hotspot down here. It is kind of disappearing, so that does give me hope that we see a pump. But going to the 1 week, you see what I'm seeing: 86,000 hotspot. These things are short-term targets. This is sort of where we're moving longer term, and you have equal liquidity both to the top side and to the downside. You even have one resting here at 83.9. In fact, we have a Bitcoin entry at around 83.7. So there's going to be we're going to need quite a bit of patience, because you can see that we've just been sort of ranging around this section, but there are clear targets that market makers will want to go to in order to really maximize their positions and sort of being able to buy or sell assets. And that about closes the fundamental analysis. I see Devitar, welcome. Shravan Rack, welcome. Merry Christmas Eve to all of you. I'm sure it's not evening yet, but over here it is. So let's actually look into the charts and maybe see where we're going, because that's the fun part, looking at the charts. Um, let's look at the macro first, right? So, in terms of the macro setting, this is Bitcoin. You can see that I've basically outlined a couple targets here. This is our long entry at around 83.7, and our stop loss. Actually, this kind of moved. It should be a little higher. Yeah, something like this. So what we can see is that this was the trend line that we've basically been following, and what's been happening the past few weeks is that we wick below the trend line and not really sustain that move. We always end up closing above that trend line, and while this is I believe this is the Binance, yeah. So this is the Binance chart. So it's got the most data. What we can see here is that it's been a while since the MVP ribbon has really gotten to this level. The last time it was here was all the way in 2023, and when we got to about this level here, right, you can see that there was just this tiny move to the downside and an explosive move to the upside. On top of that, every time we get to the bottom extremity of our CPO plus, it's always been a very good place to sort of take a long or possibly buy. And so that keeps me bullish in the long term. even if we're below sort of the 200-day moving average, we haven't violated our dynamic reactor. We're above this liquidity block. We're above this order block, right? And right now, my big concern is what will happen when we get to 108,000. Because I foresee us going to our entry, wicking, and then closing above here. And then possibly going up to 94, possibly getting rejected, or pushing up to that 1 week golden zone, right, at 108. And if we get rejected here, that's a textbook head and shoulders on the 1 week. So if I draw this very carefully, right, head and shoulders, right, got your left shoulder, got your head. This could form a classic head and shoulders pattern. That doesn't guarantee that you fall, but it is bearish in nature, right? And if we do this, place it here, then we've got a target of about 56,000, or right on the 200-week moving average, or the next liquidity block. So that's what the macro's looking like. So I am bullish long term, but I am concerned about potentially making a head and shoulders. But since we're not there yet, it's probably not worth mulling over right now, and really just enjoying what we can see at the moment. So let's look at our 5 minutes and 1 hour. I'm going to turn off some of our illustrations here. So we do look somewhat hopeful in the short term, right? We tested our quantum reactor twice on the 1 hour, and we bounced off it. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet. You can see that we're overall bearish in momentum, right? This is our fluid zero line. Anything below the fluid zero line, even if it's bullish like this, is considered bearish in nature. And the fact that it's not that strong tells me that there's not enough sort of momentum to really push us any higher. You can see that we're also between the reactors, and this is a terrible place to take trades, because one reactor is telling you bearish. This is the short moving average, or I used the dynamic reactor as a short moving average, and then I used the quantum reactor as a long moving average, and we're in between. And so until we break one side, I'm not really thinking of entering any big trades right now. We can also see that we are at equilibrium. We're near the 618. There's just so much resistance right now to the top that I'm not really convinced we go higher right now. In fact, if this fails and rejects, technically you've got another head and shoulders, right? Here on the 5 minutes, and the illustration just came back. But if this fails and rejects, then you've got a head and shoulders. If it continues, then congratulations, it went up. But again, we're facing quite a lot of resistance, and I wouldn't maybe take any longs into our move right now. Let's see who else is here. Hey Malmarzook. Hey Jabrignac. Thank you for dropping by. Let's look at the Ethereum. Actually, oh, I don't know when I played. Oh no, this was a short ID I gave yesterday, I think. Huh. Yeah, it kind of killed it. Yeah, it kind of killed it. Good thing it was just an idea and not an actual endorsement for a trade. But yeah, I'm not really seeing any real moves here. This is just consolidation. Now, if we turn on all chart patterns, right, you know, you've got very conflicting signals. It says you could go up here, you could go up here. That's not very helpful. So if we look at our CPO plus, we do see an increase in money flow. We bounce off the fluid zero line. We are bullish on the shorter time frame. This is the 5 minutes. So and that could be useful. But notice our volume is transitioning into potentially bearish. So while we do have positive money flow, if the amount of orders is turning bearish, or the aggregate number of orders are turning bearish, I'm concerned that it's doing that right as we're at resistance. If we go to, this is the 4 hour time frame. If we go to the 1 hour, and sort of see what's happening. You do have a money flow divergence and a green trend shift, which is bullish, right? That is useful, but it's sort of the same story. We're in between the reactors. You can see here, it was a great idea to take a long because your dynamic reactor got above your quantum reactor. And if we go all the way back here, it's a great idea to take a short because your quantum reactor went above your dynamic reactor. Obviously, maybe not take a short here, right, as it's oversold, but taking a short here, stop loss above even just the dynamic reactor, and that would have been a very profitable trade based solely on the 1 hour. Oh, hey, Voicey. Um, Thank you for coming. Let's look at Solana. So Solana was one of the coins I said we could possibly long. But as you can see, sort of my entry was a little off, and so I'm not sure if we're gonna go back down here. It's possible we do. I mean, we have the smart target right at our FVG, measured move down here. It's possible, but we'll just have to see. Because my concern is that here on the 4 hour, we could see potentially a lower move, and you can see here on the 30 minutes, right? We're testing that fluid zero line. We got a bearish diamond shift, and that could potentially mean that even if we got a very tiny pump as of right now, you could possibly go back down, reject off of this, and be influenced by this bearish momentum heading down. Because it's not impossible that we get a little push up then back down on the CPO plus, right? Typically you don't see that, but it's possible. I mean, it happened here, right? It happened here as well. So I don't discount the possibility that we see a lower move right now, and then that's when we get our long. Because again, as we saw in the fundamental analysis for those that were here, but I'm learning that it's better to show and not tell. Although you know, that's such a high school concept, right? If we go to our liquidation levels, while on the 1 day the clusters look about the same in terms of um, how much liquidations there are, going to the 7 day, you see that the quality of the leverage is more biased to the downside. Yes, the cumulative liquidations are about 1 to 1, which implies volatility based on fundamental analysis, but the quality of the move to either the upside or downside, you're going to get more liquidations by going to the downside rather than you are to the upside. And the whole point is to basically get as much as those liquidations, get as much people out, and really take everything in their sort of portfolio. And we don't want to be on this side of the market. And if we go back to our 1 week RSI heat map, you can see that bigger clusters of liquidity is down here at around 86 all the way down to 84. So again, doesn't surprise me if we just sort of go up a bit, then go back down to 84. I mean, that's where we put one of our Bitcoin entries. But yeah. All right, excuse me. I've been driving all day. Oof. Okay. So let me just erase these and basically wait. This is going to be a shorter show than normal. Typically, as you guys know, it lasts 2 hours, but because it's Christmas Eve and it's also my mom's birthday, so I want to spend like the last 30 minutes of the day with my mom and then greet her a Merry Christmas and then go to sleep because we got lunch tomorrow. But yeah. But yeah, actually, if you guys have any questions or coins that you want me to look at, just let me know. Don't be shy. I know quite a few of us are new to the show, so again, don't be shy. I won't bite, and I'd love to interact with you guys and just exchange information freely. That's the whole point. You subscribe to the package, you're entitled to this. So feel free to ask me any questions. Yeah. Okay, while that's going on, one thing we were looking at yesterday was Pippin, but Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too, Dimitar. Any thoughts on the chaos on Pippin? I'm actually just about to get on Pippin. Voicey, were you the one that asked or told me about Pippin? I'm sorry I couldn't respond. I was attending mass earlier, I'm guessing they call it a service in other countries. We call it mass here, but yeah, I was attending a service, so I was, no gadgets. Yeah, of course. You're very welcome, Khalifa. Thank you, Voicey. But yeah, it's why I was really sketchy or sketched out by how Pippin was responding. I mean, everything says short the shit out of Pippin. But I mean, just look at this. This is disgusting. This happened just a few hours ago. This was 4 hours ago, and it did a massive pump, got to the measured move, and then completely wicked down. This is just outright manipulation, and you just see that so often on Pippin, right? You see it here, you see it see it here. It's just so damn manipulated, right? And what makes it even funnier is that here in the 1 hour, you're getting a bullish cross on the reactors, right? Market dynamics or market oracle is saying it's bullish, and then here you have CPO plus telling you it's overextended. So there are times where Pippin is really clear on what it wants to do, but you really have to basically manage your expectations, move your stop loss. Not even just to break even, but maybe 50% profit when you're already there because of how it's just gross it is. I mean, imagine entering along here. That would have been perfect, but nothing in our chart was telling us to take a long. Okay, maybe here 5 minutes, you are oversold. Maybe you could have listened to that. But either way, it's just terrible. Yeah, right here, right on the 5 minute. Hit a double bottom, launch to Valhalla, and now we're back down. And what's funny is you might be incentivized to take a long here because typically when you get such a long wick such as this with a nice 90% volatility, market makers like to fill up at least 70% of that wick. So we're about for 50%, so 70% of 50 is about 35, but accounting for the thing, let's say you get to maybe like 33. So there is an incentive to basically long it until 0.66. But let's look at it from maybe a higher time frame. Exactly, it keeps rejecting. Um, I'm not liking the 4 hour either because your fluid zero line's all the way up here, which means you can just roll over at any moment. Let's go to the 12 hour. I mean, 12 hours saying you can go up, right? You bounced off the fluid zero line, but it's not really sustainable to do that. So, I think for the Christmas season, for our mental sake, let's not look at Pippin. Terrible. But I mean, if you want to trade it, you could possibly take a long once we get above the quantum reactor. Yeah, here on the 5 minutes. I'm not gonna do that though. I think it's gonna be painful taking a long here. Let's look at Zek. Oh, okay. So for context, there are times where I just like, when I'm just doing stuff for lols or trying to pass time, I kind of just chart something. So this happened with XRP where I just placed a long entry here or like a long somewhere, and then I didn't order it myself. I didn't announce it, and then I just look at it and it hit. So it looks like this could have been a fantastic trade. And I should have signaled it. How many is 2.1 to 2.5? 6% move. Wild. Wild. Damn. So what I also like about sort of doing these things is we basically can get an idea of outliers. So Zek's not really following Bitcoin right now. I mean, it's forming this triple top right here. So that's actually an incentive to short. If we go to the 4 hour and 30 minutes, though, I really don't think scalping is great for algorithmic trading because of the fact that it's all based on fibs, and it's it you're it's trying to just get as much stop losses as it can. So for those who are new, um, uh, when there's sort of a holiday or a weekend, right? Institutions are not going to be open because there are humans behind the institution. They've got families. They need to take a break. I mean, it's Christmas. It's one of if not the biggest major holiday across the world. So people are going to take breaks. Whether or not you celebrate it is a whole different topic. So right now there are orders in the order book. I mean, if you open through your exchange, there are orders coming in. And so the algorithm, because it's designed and it's programmed to give fair value as much as possible, um, it's really just going to go up and down. It's really just going to range. And because it's a program, somehow it's natural enough to follow the laws of mathematics. And so doing your fibs, those are going to work really well. So you can see, for example, here in Bitcoin, 30 minutes, it already passed. ChartPine does have a fib indicator. It's called Fibonacci Archer Box. It's free, so you can just add it to your charts. I like using it because it also gives me a sense of where the fib was in a previous level, and see, or basically confirm my hypothesis with regard to uh, algorithm trading on holidays and weekends. But you can see we got rejected off the fib, we went down, right? Notice it's even stronger when you get like a signal and then a rejection at the fib. So placing it way above the fib is also a great idea. So if we go down here, right, Bitcoin 4 hour, we have an entry at around 83.7, so somewhere here. We're bearish. We did get above the quantum reactor on the 4 hour, but we got rejected off the dynamic reactor and we're headed back down. We're currently at the money flow POC. So there is some logic to maybe entering along here, but then your MVP ribbon is saying you still have room to go down. And so entering here at the next leg is probably the smarter idea. Let's do the same thing with Ethereum. Right. So I think, at least for this week, the smartest thing to do is to basically set up for potential longs, because of the fact that we're just going to algorithm trade and we're just going to head down based on our FA and sort of what the CPO plus is telling us here on the 4 hour charts, right? Oh, hey Armac, welcome. Yeah. I hope everyone here is sort of enjoying their Christmas Eve, or whatever time it is, or if you're gonna have dinner later, enjoy it with your family, right? Um, Looking at Solana, right? We could enter here, but we do have an entry all the way down to 110, down here, around this area. The logic was because of the 12 hour. Yeah. Excuse me. But I'm contemplating whether or not we should continue with the Solana long, because if we're following just the 12 hour, there's basically a better reason to maybe place it here at the measured move, right? I think that would make more sense. But we'll just have to see when we get there, because Bitcoin is gonna make these guys fall harder than how much it would fall. So if Bitcoin falls to its smart target, these guys are falling beyond their measured move. Um, what I'd wait for is maybe like a little bit of a push up again and then short it back down to the smart target here in Bitcoin. But yeah. Yeah, it's really, really boring right now. Um, if you guys have any sort of suggestions and coins, just let me know because it's kind of boring to look at the big three at the moment. But I guess let's look at XRP and how it's doing, and then we can move on to say Tau. Um, of course, I use Blowfin. Uh, oh, that would have been a great short. Do you know? Do you follow any scalping strategy to do quick scalps for BTC Soul using BTC or Soul using the indicators? Yeah. I mean, I do scalp. It's just at least current market conditions aren't letting me. So let me run you through how I would scalp. So let me pull up a new chart. Um, so what's important when scalping is understanding your bigger time frame and then scalping on the lower time frame so that you can get in and out easy. So let's load up BTC. In fact, we can probably look at examples later, or like previous examples of successful scalps that I've done before. Are you part of the hackers group? Are you talking to me, Jay Brignac, or nah? What's the hackers group? Well, I think that answers the question. I'm not. Yeah, chart hackers. No, I'm not. I'm specific to the chart prime. Not hackers. Would you mind explaining your thought process when you are looking at the Prime Oscillator Pro Plus? As far I know the signals as far as the overbought, oversold red triangle and green triangle. Okay, perfect. We can strike two birds with one stone here. Oh, I see. No, I don't know anything about it. So I'm not part of the chart hackers group. I think that's specifically them. But I'm only affiliated with Chart Prime. I mean, they could be a partner. So, for context, right? I'm contracted by Chart Prime, so I'm not sort of my own entity, or I'm not an employee of Chart Prime. So, for those things, if we're partners with another group, I wouldn't know unless I'm explicitly told to remember, or explicitly briefed rather. So yeah, I don't know anything about it. Okay. Hey, sugar daddy. Still such a weird thing to say. But okay. So let's go over sort of what I'm looking for, right? What I want to know. Oh, this is not. Okay. Let me correct the symbol. So to answer Vamshi's question, what I need to know is where is our higher time frame going? In this case, it's the 1 hour. You can do. You can check the 12 hour as well for the overall sentiment, but I use the 1 hour because it's 12 times the candles of the 5 minute, and I use the 5 minute for entries. So, for example, right now, this is a no trade situation. We're in between the reactors, correct, Vamshi? So, we're in between the dynamic reactor which is my fast moving average, and my quantum reactor, which is my slow moving average. So the reason I know that is because if we go to Market Oracle Pro Plus, I've set my quantum reactor to slow. You can set it to fast, but I don't recommend it for basically how I do it. But feel free to experiment because it's all about getting you guys to be able to modify and really tailor your toolkit to you. So I treat them as my moving averages. And essentially, this is a no trade zone because we're in between. If we fall here, then yes, we can take a short. But then if we're in between like this, it's a no trade zone. But here, quantum reactor goes below the dynamic reactor. And so, if I'm going to scalp, right, let's say at this point in time, I don't know why it's making or why it's doing that. That's really new, actually. Um, right. Let's see what it looks like at this point in time. So we got a blue, a peak seeker dot, and they're just about to cross. So let's see what happens. Right. We see this big wick to the. Okay, let's stop that. So what you want to look for is either a big wick to the downside because we're looking for longs right here on the 1 hour, or sort of our bias is long because of the reactors crossing, and we look for big wicks. Now, at this point in time, this is 21 o'clock of December 20, right? So it's kind of a long trip to 21 o'clock December 20, but we will go there. Right. Okay, here. Right. We zoom in. And what do we see? Right, this is 2120. We see this move to the upside, and we can see in the succeeding hours we did sort of crash. But what we'll notice here on the 5 minutes is we got 3 points of confluence. Now, what are those 3 points of confluence, right? We have our bullish divergence, we have a green reversal triangle, and we also have our ribbon twist. So, what we would do is maybe enter a long position somewhere here. Now, you could do a market buy. I'm not opposed to market buys, but I avoid market buys as much as possible. I don't want the fees. So if you can somehow snipe your entry, or at least just enter here, that would be great, right? And then put your stop loss below the dynamic reactor, or even below the last swing low. For this case, I'll put it below the dynamic reactor on the 1 hour. You want to have your stop loss based on the higher time frame to basically absorb the volatility that comes next, right? And then with scalps, I aim to about 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. You can do higher. For swings, I do 1 to 2.5, right? But the reason I do that is because I don't want to basically stay in scalps too long. And you can see, right, we just about hit it on this candle, right? Very close. So what I would do is when we reach 1, that's when I would basically put my, or when we reach 1 to 1, I would put my stop loss to break even and then let it run, because you can see at this point we do get stopped out, right? But we were so close to that one. And so it's really a matter of tailoring your scalp. Now, in terms of actual examples that we've had before, if I can still find it, because it's been such a long time actually, but we will see here because I did it all on live. Yeah, it's got to be like a month ago, because that was when the market was a lot clearer. Oh no, that I haven't even joined Chart Prime yet at this point. Oh no, I might have deleted it because I cleared out. Oh no, maybe this will let me see it. No, I might have deleted it because I got so fed up with how many drawings I had. Yeah, it might be gone. Yeah, because this is September. It should be around this area. But yeah, we sort of shorted this, but I'll get you some details actually. I think I still have the screenshots because I had to like show OC and Alex. But yeah, essentially that's what we're looking for. That's what I look for when I scalp. And to answer um, Armax question, right? What do the signals here on the CPO plus mean? So first of all, right, you already know overbought, oversold. Do you know about like the divergences or what they mean by any chance? Yeah. Oh, JBreak, you do get less fees when you do limit orders. What is the chart hackers group? This is so new to me. But hey, welcome, Daga. Okay, perfect. So it's really just sort of these new signals, right? So, this yellow thing by default, it's gonna be a circle. Essentially, it's detecting a divergence here on the money flow oscillator. So when you see that, that means that um, the people who were, because okay, right, how I've basically defined money flow and volume because they seem so similar, is basically the concert analogy. Volume, this matrix here at the bottom, is essentially the population that goes to a concert. Everyone who bought a ticket to the concert. So it's saying that, let's say they bought a ticket, it's bullish. They didn't buy a ticket, it's bearish. So here we're saying that a lot of people bought tickets. Now money flow is saying who bought merch, because yes, you're in the order, but within that single order, how much more did you add onto it? Basically, the quality of that volume. And you can see that here, you know, there's money outflow. So it's not really a great analogy to say no one bought merch, but in this case, we're doing like a binary thing, right? So we're basically saying no one bought merch, but and there's really no way to increase people not buying merch, but just stick with me, right? Uh, you can see here we did get a transition that meant that people are now buying more merch. So what this yellow indicator is saying is that there are less people not buying merch, right? When because money flow is bearish or there are outflows. So that's sort of how the money flow divergence works. Now, I'm not part of the team that designed or sort of did the calculations for the trend shift diamond, so I can't really um so I can't fully say whether or not it's based on the CPO plus, but because it's sort of the trend shift, I'm guessing it's based on um actual price action. And the reason I say that is because look at when this trend shift diamond appeared. It appeared right when you sort of broke off this double bottom thing, right? Right? Even market dynamics said it was a double bottom, correct? And then you suddenly shifted the trend. You got a topping candle or a bearish. It's not really a bearish hammer. It's like it's a bearish doji that's trying to be a hammer, and then you got this nice candle, this nice bearish succeeding candle, and that's when your trend shift diamond appeared. And so that's sort of based on price action. So with that, um, you basically get some more metrics that are useful, right? Money flow there was no real way to really know whether money flow was weakening in terms of like bearish or bullish. So now that we have money flow divergence, that tells us that the new orders that are coming in, they're changing right even before they're able to influence the chart. Because right, again, we're based on an algorithm that tries to give fair value. It's to prevent massive capitulation either side, or basically a capital dick measuring contest, right? So it's great that we now have money flow divergence to basically test that. The trend shift is nice as well because it tells us, okay, so in terms of price action, the trend is shifting. So that could either be a continuation, or you continue, uh, or you can basically it can get invalidated and continue. So peak seekers, I think there is sufficient documentation for peak seekers. It's essentially local bottoms or local tops, or where it thinks the peak of the of the peak of our price is. Now, it can be invalidated as well, but I think it's rather useful to have them. Of Crypto Banter's group, chart a group within the Banter family. Oh, oh, so they're like what's this? They're some of our influencers, or like people who also use Chart Prime. So something like J Bravo and Trade IQ. Okay. No, so I'm not part of Chart Hackers. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm affiliated with Chart Prime, and it seems, as based on what I'm reading from this conversation, they're affiliated with Chart Prime as well. So I'm directly under Chart Prime. I haven't met them. I haven't spoken to them. Um, but you know, if they're using our tools, then they know it's good for them. Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah. So for example, right, there are some tags where it's like Bravo Crew. So they basically came into Chart Prime through Jay Bravo, who is a um uh an affiliate influencer for Chart Prime. So Jay Bravo, actually the MVP oscillator was designed with Jay Bravo. So yeah, it's basically his colors. He really likes blue and purple, and the styling and the logic is Jay Bravo. So if you go to sort of the invite only stuff, you can see like Bravo Kit, Crown, Pine Trades, Trade IQ. It's basically those guys. So I'm guessing Chart Hackers is um, something along those lines, but they haven't made like a celebrity kit just yet. But in any case, yeah. So I hope that makes it clear for RMAC, and I hope I was able to answer your question, Vamshi. Um, Sorry, I didn't mean to. Oh no, don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. This is a 1 hour 30 minute to 2 hour show. You're not derailing anything, seriously. Like I am happy to talk with you guys. I mean, you know, in real life I have friends. But you know, saying that makes it sound like I don't have friends. So I don't know if I should say that. But I do have friends, but it's always nice to talk to like-minded people, cuz you know, you can be being different from your friends is it's beautiful because you get a lot of different perspectives, and somehow you guys still get along. But being able to share sort of your passions with people who are also passionate about the same thing, that's different, right? And that's also something beautiful. And I'm passionate about trading. I'm passionate about cars. I'm passionate about watches. I'm passionate about fountain pens. I'm passionate about EDC. And some of those things I can't really relate to when it comes to my friends, because uh, they describe it as old soul hobbies. Like they're not there yet. My friends are more into, what are they into now? They're more into like, well, more into video games. And I've actually, the only video game I play right now is like Genshin Impact, and the only reason I do is because I treat it like an economics thing, and my girlfriend also plays, so I actually play both our accounts at times because she just wants to be strong in her account and not think about doing like the events and whatnot. So yeah, so they're more into video games. Uh, Swimming's one of them as well, but the thing is, I have a skin condition, so I'm allergic to chlorine, and I actually don't know if you guys can see it, but my upper lip right here is like cut in half because my skin is so thin that it like tears. Um, Hope that wasn't too graphic. I probably should have put a trigger warning in case anyone gets triggered by that. But yeah, so there are things where I cannot relate with my friends with. We still get along, you know, ride or die. But you know, I can relate about finance with you guys and economics, and that's wonderful. So yeah, genuinely, you guys, you're not drilling my time. And if you have any questions, you're confused about anything, or you're just curious about something, just let me know. And sometimes I don't know the answers to the questions, or what you guys are sharing, and so maybe we can investigate it together. You know, it's really just building that exchange so that we can all grow as traders. Yeah, chart is my friend and my enemy, depends on the day. I have, haha, you do great. Thank you. I have a passion about women. God's greatest gift on earth. ETH looks nice on the 1 hour. Let's look at ETH. So, oh yeah, this is the 4 hour. I was like, oh, I don't know what you mean, but okay. I was looking at the Bravo kit. Yeah. Okay, so 5 minutes oversold. Really odd money flow metrics there. Um, yeah, I mean, oh, Bravo kit. So I don't really use um Bravo kit myself. Uh, and it's more of because I haven't really studied it enough. I know Jay Bravo has a course where he goes over it with people who subscribe. So if you guys want to look up Jay Bravo, I think his show is great because it shows you basically, it's not really pessimistic, but it's also another way to look at economics. So I from what I've been able to garner from his videos, right? He used to be an economics teacher. So that means he's got credentials in economics, and as you guys know, I am taking an undergraduate in economics right now, um, and my professor, who I admire very dearly, graduated from, shoot, I forgot, but it was one of the Catholic schools in New York. So he got his PhD for economics there, and yeah, he came back to our university here in the Philippines, which is the top one university. So depending on which rankings you look at, it's either one of them. So just take a guess which one I'm part of, or which one I attend. And essentially, I'm also sort of interested in banking, or the logic of banking, the psychology of banking. So uh, where was I going with this idea? Oh, so I admire Jay Bravo a lot. He has sort of a different way of looking at the data. I have a different way as well. I'm counter cyclical and more uh, and have way more faith in institutions than he does. That could be a blessing or a curse depending on how you look at it. Um, and so uh, what I'm essentially seeing here, or basically we're aligned with the fact that things are gonna go down, right? And here on his oscillator, I don't think he uses Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus that much. He uses his MVP a lot, uh, and he uses Bravo Kit, Chick Magnet, and whatnot to basically inform his TA. And I don't have access to the Chick Magnet or whale sighting. I think I could ask, but I haven't. Um, because it's basically Jay Bravo gets a cut from subscribing subscribing through him to get the Chart Prime. Yeah. This is for you in this case. Thank you so much, Daga. I will look at that later. For our quantum is okay. Yeah, but oh, Piper, okay. There is one thing though I want you to look. If you look very closely, it's turned gray. Uh, excuse me, it's turned gray again, right? Because you basically broke below it. This is, sorry, let me check. This is Ethereum 4 hour. Okay, let's go to Ethereum 4 hour. We are getting a little move to the upside, right? So yeah, basically we're looking at something similar. Now, if you close within or below the quantum reactor, it's going to turn gray. in which case it's trying to determine whether it's an actual dump or not. But if you close above it like this with a long wick, then that's a great place to possibly enter, right? Oh, went back to about 120. Yeah. So right now, what I'm seeing is we are getting sort of this rejection off your discount zones, your quantum reactors and whatnot. But I'm still skeptical because of the fact that our MVP ribbons on these 4 hour time frames, they haven't really broke down all the way to overextended, and you can see they're sort of, I actually, I thought I thought it was the wrong term, but it's apparently the right term. For those who have just been tuning into the lives for quite a while, you know how I like, that process in osmosis. So you can see that it's actually phasing through the fluid zero line, quite significantly. I mean, potentially you could bounce from here, right? Could bounce. That would mean that you got your bullish move, and on price action and on the CPO plus, that would look like a move to the upside, right? But if you continue to break below your fluid zero line, then you've officially entered bearish momentum overall. And you can see that we are getting the presence of bottoming bars, but they're not really that prevalent. And so I do think that we're going to get our push back to the downside. Even if we're completely oversold here on the lower time frames, right? You see we are oversold here or overextended on the lower time frames, but you can just get some minor relief, right? Get that underextended. What? Extend? No, that's not the right term. What is the absence of extension? The opposite is contraction. You know how the word overwhelmed, there's no just whelmed, right? It's overwhelmed or underwhelmed. There's no just whelmed. It's sort of that thing. But anyways, linguistics. um, you could just get a very slight relief, reject off the zero line, come back down. Same thing here. A slight relief, reject off the zero line, come back down. And it's why this move right here, even if it did look good, I'm not convinced that it's a great time to take a long. If anything, it's just shorts that I'm in right now. Let me see chat. Overextended. It's like the opposite of overextended. Is it underextended? But then underextended would mean that it's like, I don't know. Underextended might be the right term. But yeah. But in any case, I'm also still learning some of the influencer kits, like Trade IQ's oscillator. I want to learn that. I want to learn the Bravo kit as well on my own. There's so much for me to learn as well. But right now, I've really just specialized on our chart prime tools. I got epilepsy looking at your chart. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. The Fruit Loops. I know. It's a little messy, but it works. Actually, it's why if we go to whenever I post something, right, I actually have a template prepared, so it's literally just this S template, and it just cleans things up so that people don't get too confused. Yeah, see, it's so much cleaner. Right, still got the boxes, but it's so much cleaner. And I remember the first time I spoke with CEO Alex and Gecko Alex. Gecko Alex was just like, bravo. And then CEO Alex was like, can you make it less cluttered? I can't read it. And I'm like, oh, understood, sir. And he told me not to call him sir. I know, Daga. No. You know what happened last time? You did that, and then you just deleted it. It should have stayed. There should have been history. You should have kept it. So if you're going to send it, I need you to keep it here. Like, do not delete the message. It needs to stay as part of Chart Prime history. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Uh, check out Magic Indicator's strategy. So, check out Magic Indicator strategies. That's literally what it's called. Um, and I'm not entirely sure about the history of it, but we have something exciting coming to that channel. So Chart Prime now owns it. So based on that discussion, it used to be owned by someone else, but we now own it, and I am going to do the voice for it in the future. So I don't know if you guys will be interested to hearing my voice on YouTube of places, but yeah, we're going to basically use my voice for it. Right now, though, it's just using AI generated voices, but there is a video on the Trade IQ oscillator somewhere there. Like I don't know which one. I just remember that was from there, and I was going to review it. Yeah, if I find the link, I'll send it over in trading chat, and I'll tag you, Dimitar. No, no, no. I think people are going to get very sick of the channel very quickly if I do that. Uh, I feel like doing impressions is better for like short form content because you just like go through your YouTube Shorts or your TikTok. I don't know if you guys use TikTok or YouTube Short, but then imagine just being like, or just scrolling through and then you suddenly hear, "Hey guys, did you ever think that RSI was too inaccurate for your blah 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 blah? Well, blah, blah, blah," and something. No, it would be something like, "Let me introduce you to RSI primed." Oh my goodness! And I thought my Christmas Eve would be more. I don't know. I don't know what I thought it would be like. There you go. Thank you so much, Daga. Um, but to answer your question, Sugar Daddy, I don't think I'm gonna do the Mickey Mouse voice. We might also get copyrighted. Maybe not copyrighted. No, it would be fair use. I think it'd be fair use. The voice itself, I'm not sure is. Actually, I have to look into that. If I want to be a lawyer, I have to think about that. Ah, that stumped me. Anyways, uh, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, I do think we had lower. Actually, what's funny is I have a sole entry at like 113, then another one at 110 from way back when, but I have to give it a look. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, hidden bearish div on Ave. Actually, have you guys heard about the news with Ave? Uh, it's rough. Like, I get like the internal branding and whatnot. I don't know the full story of what's going on with Ave, but Ave's going through some really crazy stuff right now. Actually, I do see that we have some more people in, or at least tuning in. Let me greet you guys. Hey Cobalt. Hey PXS Millie. Uh, hey Speezy. Crypto Cully, welcome. Uh, the guy with the regular Discord profile picture username starts with M. Welcome. I'm really sorry I can't greet you properly. Your name's truncated, at least on my end. Evo Killer, welcome to the show. We still got 30 minutes on the show, so if you have any questions or coins you want me to look at, just let me know. Because, well, we still got 30 minutes. Let's maximize the Christmas Eve show. I don't. Wait, next year, the days add by one, right? So, damn, Wednesday's gonna be Christmas itself. Ugh. Damn, no, that'll be like a 1 hour 30-minute show for both, unless I'm traveling. Which is why next week there isn't going to be a Wednesday show, because I'm going to be in Queenstown. But I'm traveling from Queenstown to Sydney, so kind of imagine doing a stream on a plane, just being like, "Hey guys, hello." Keeping my voice down so that I don't disturb my mom or my sister and the passenger in front of me. So yeah, let's pull up the chart right here, right now. I'm flying a few thousand feet off the, the channel or whatever's separating New Zealand and Australia. Oh, this would be terrible. But okay. So Ave got a hidden bearish div. On what time frame? Was it the 1 hour? A 1 hour. Okay, let's go to the 1 hour. Because if that's the case, we can probably short Ave. Huh. Oh, it was on Bing X. I think that's true. Excuse me. What? It's not. Or is it? No. Oh, it's not. Is it on the 30 minutes? Okay, yeah, it's on the 30 minutes. Okay. Why was it saying 1 hour? Okay, shorting Ave might be a great idea then. Granted, your 4 hour kind of wants upside. And your MVP ribbon's really low, so it's bullish on the lower time frame. But I think we get some lower moves on Ave. Where would this put our 2? Or 1 to 1.5? Let's look at the volume profile. This is where smart money is entering. Let's look at a 12-hour. It's really not giving that much, if I'm being honest. I don't want to take a short when your higher time frames are giving like bottoming signals, right? What's the name of the volume profile? It's just in market dynamics, sugar daddy. Again, that was such a weird sentence. It's right here. So if you go to volume and money profiler, so 1, 2, to about 2 scrolls down. Granted, if your mouse has a different like scroll rate than mine, but on mine it's 2. I do 20 levels. I think by default this gives you like 25. I don't show the delta data, but I do money levels and delta levels, then POC extend. Yeah. Yeah. Very welcome. But yeah. Of course. I love helping you guys. Apart from the fact that, it's a contract, but it's genuinely great. I was telling Gecko how like some of you guys send me messages on my inbox, and for some of them I can't give an answer because that I can't do like one-on-one tutoring, right? But for some, they just like send a screenshot and they go, "Thank you so much, Langestrom," and whatnot, and they're doing their own trades, and that's independent of like the signals that I give, and that just fills my heart. I don't know if you guys ever have been a teacher, but I get what teachers feel when they see. I mean, you guys really aren't my students in itself, but like when they see their students succeed, that's just great. It's a nice fuzzy feeling. That's what I describe it as. Oh man, I love Bruce Lee, but thank you, Daga. Uh, Still learning though, always learning. I think that's the beauty of trading. You're basically always learning. Uh, let's see. Let's actually go back to our big three, see what they're up to, and I'm going to turn this off. I'm really sad that this short missed by like a couple. I might have to like call it off because we've basically moved so far, but that was like a perfect magnet. It didn't even touch the FVG itself. So, I mean, it is what it is. When there's no more steam, there's no more steam, but so close. Right, I even lowered it to like down here to 769 so it would be just like a tad lower. Didn't even touch the FVG. Could be like an exchange thing, like it touched it on another chart, but it is what it is. Excuse me. Let me go back to the lower time frame, go back to the 1 hour, see what we're sort of dealing with here. Now, entering a short at this point is would be comical. That's sort of what they want you to do. Um, Entering a short here would have been smart, but granted, that was before our show started, like a whole hour. So, unfortunately, yeah, you're at the thing. Oh, hey, that guy. Welcome. So, it looks like we still got 22 minutes. If you guys have any questions or coins you want me to look at, just let me know. Actually, let me check this stock out. Okay. Did push up and went back down. Thank goodness. Hmm. Actually, kind of want to look at Ondo. Maybe you could short it on the way down to our entry. Yeah. Kind of don't want to leave Christmas Eve without making a trade. That's a fallacy in and of itself, but you know. Oh, ow. My bad, guys. 20 minutes. Question. There are so many trading strategies going on, and for a beginner, it's really hard to choose one. Can you line some of them up based on the chart prime indicators, like the sequence you are taking over and over again? What do you mean by trading strategies, MRT? Uh, like how to enter a trade, or or like the psychology behind the trade or taking a trade? Because how I go about trading is my strategy. I'm a contrarian trader. So you're either a trend following trader or a contrarian trader, and then that's what you're looking for. You then tailor your indicators to that strategy, or are you saying the indicators are like what shows up on the indicators, that's the strategy? Or do you want the thing before that, which is, are you a trend following trader or a contrarian trader? sequence on first. Okay, okay, great. We've got time. Perfect. Thank you so much for asking. So, I do have a recorded video on how I do contrarian trading and what I look for in a trade. Um, and so it's pinned to my channel. So if you go over to my signals channel, click the pinned. It's a video somewhere there. Just my general routine, straight from fundamental analysis, heading into the charts and whatnot. So in the interest of time, I'll basically try to outline the trend following strategy, which I think most traders are, because it does have um, a higher, or I say, or I think it'd be like a more frequent. Um, you'd be able to take more frequent trades that way. Uh, so let's do the trend following strategy. All right. And I think it's best for trends to basically look at higher time frames first. So what you essentially want to do from the beginning is to look at the a very high time frame and work your way down. So it's a top down approach. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to identify or determine what the trend of the entire market is right now. So if I go to the unnamed chart, go here on, let me end the replay, right? Go here, we'd start with the 1 week. And to make this as, let's do 1 week Binance, more information. But oh no, not five. I thought, and that's a strategy right there. Um, but I will say though, don't listen to. I mean, everything here is not technically financial advice. It's all sort of interpretation backed with experience as well as data to prove it. You can like go through my log, see my win rate, and see sort of how my logic is able to translate in terms of win rate and whether you get to your first take profit or your last take profit, right? So essentially, you don't want to just listen to whatever anyone says. Do your own research, modify, tailor, and everything. So there's 15 minutes on the chart, 15 minutes on the chart, 15 minutes on the clock. So let's do this. And essentially, what we're looking for is here on the 1 week. What's clear at the very start, ever since 2023, is that we've been in an uptrend. And depending on how you draw this, your trend line, right? We've been in an uptrend. Now, people like to use moving averages for trend following traders, right? They like using moving averages. So let me turn off this to basically get us to just see what the moving averages are saying. So what we can see is, or how they treat it is, any trade or any price action that's above this blue line is a long, or you're in an uptrend. And so you want to look for longs or long opportunities. If you're below, you look for short opportunities. And if you're above, you look for long opportunities. It's that simple. So what we can see, starting at this point, at any point here, you want to look for a long. So if we zoom into, when did this start? So you broke above it April. So let me boot up the 12-hour chart, go back to April. Okay, we're almost there. We're at May. So April. Oh, it's December. March. April, perfect. So what we're going to look for from a trend trading strategy is we want to look for, or trend following strategy is we want to look for these instances. We want to look for a point in which we basically get near the zero line and we bounce off it. And the logic behind that is we can essentially say that any at any point that the CPO plus is below the zero line, so this line right here, that is bearish overall. And you can see that there is some sense to it, right? You can see that here we got up, following, we went down, right? And following this move right here, which aligns with this move right here, you break down. Now, overbought, or oversold rather. When you get an oversold signal, that's not a signal on a trend following strategy to hop in straight away. What you're going to look for then is confirmation. And you're going to look, and you're going to get confirmation through retests. So if I remove this again, so you got your oversold signal, that lines up with this candle, or these sets of candles, right? You get a move up, you break past the zero line. That's important when you're doing a trend following strategy. You break past the zero line, and you essentially mark that area where it broke the zero line, right? And then you want to wait for a retest. If it's close enough to the zero line, that's a retest. And you can see at every point that we got into this line, or this line in the sand, or support line, right? You can now take a long because you got a transition. So you would enter a long somewhere around here. Now, depending on how great you are at spotting it, right? You could enter up here. You could enter slightly lower if you did really good, or if you were able to see it straight away. But let's say, for the sake of our argument, you enter lower, or higher rather, right? Your stop loss will always have to be below the previous swing low, so you would place it like right here. But mind you, be careful. Double check with FA if this is a liquidity hotspot, because market makers will sometimes like to just aim for your stop hunt. They're gonna try to get to your stop loss. So make sure it's not a liquidity hotspot, and you can do that just by going to CoinGlass, checking if it's your hotspot. So I'll send the link over, liquidation heat map. Just check if it's a hotspot on the 24-hour or 12-hour, and then that's it. Yeah. So after that, you want to aim for about a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, right? So you can do 1 to 2. I do 1 to 2.5, but in any case, the point is you want to just, if this is a swing trade, so 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5, that's great. I know some people like 1 to 3, but that's kind of crazy. And you can see that over the span of a very long swing, you get your full take profit. So that's sort of the trend following strategy, right? You go higher time frame. What is the trend? If it's above your moving average, you're looking for longs. Go to the lower time frame. Wait for it to be oversold or overbought, right? See where it crosses the zero line. Draw a line right there to mark support. See if you get above it or if the ribbon twists, and then you take your long. Now, that's different from the contrarian trading strategy, where once we go oversold, that's when I enter. And sort of how I determine whether or not it is to enter, I'm going to wait for price action to basically tell me that we're headed up. So if I go to the 1 week here, right, go back to April. So thankfully we drew it, right? What I'm going to look for here on the 1 week, do I have confluence that we're headed up? The answer at this point is yes, right? I got a hidden bullish div, weakening bearish trend strength based on the meter here, green diamond trend shift, and a blue dot, a peak bottom, right? So I would enter based on my contrarian trading strategy. I'd predict where it's going to go oversold here on the 12-hour, and whether or not I've got my confluence already on the higher time frame, and I would enter here. In this case, it's been you don't know what the confluence here is at this point. So let me go back to market. No. Oh no, I turned it. Okay. So I would then enter basically a long position when I think it might go oversold, and there's a good chance that it stops right there at bottoms. I'd place my stop loss below maybe the trend line, right? And then you can see having a contrarian strategy allows you to get a better risk to reward, right? Because with the trend following strategy, you get more frequent trades, maybe, right? Or you get confirmation. With the contrarian strategy, it's based on the idea that banks and institutions are counter-cyclical rather than pro-cyclical. So they want to do the opposite of what retail is doing in order to make or in order to liquidate them. Sort of the downside of my strategy is some of my trades get or never get hit because my projection is wrong. For example, that Bitcoin short right over here, is it here? Yeah, if you see, I had a Bitcoin short waiting right here at 9764, and you can see price almost got to it. And you could have the 100% correct setup. I was basically saying, okay, for FVG entry at the most traded price, and it's gonna go overbought. And you can see it went overbought, right? It went it went there, but it missed it. And that's sort of the sucky thing about the contrarian trading strategy, right? If you're doing a trend following strategy, you would have entered your short here or around here because then you've got your retest, you got your wick, and then you head down. So less potential profits in a trend following strategy because you're waiting for confirmation, and then more potential profits in a uh, contrarian strategy, but it's possible that you don't get your order filled. Yeah, that's also a good tip, Daga. So I hope that answers your question, MRT. And if you need, or if you ever need clarification again, or maybe sort of an explanation for a trend following strategy, I feel like uh, Runaire, so chart Prime Runaire or Runaire Prime, is that is it Mr. Nobody? But anyways, Runaire is probably someone you can ask. Also, um, yeah. So I know Renair is more of trend following than I am. I'm definitely contrarian, and so you can probably tag Runair Prime. But if you want to ask me again, feel free to tag me in chat. My work hours are from 9 a.m. EST to uh, what's 9 plus 5? 3. 2 p.m. EST. So yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, I hope that helps and sort of gives you guys insight that essentially there are two big strategies, there are two schools of thought. There could be a third, I don't know, but generally I feel like there are two schools of thought, whether you're trend following or you're contrarian. I mean, maybe you could throw in a third, like pattern trading. I know Nas pattern trades, but generally I think with trend following and contrarian, those are the two big schools, and then you got like sub schools and whatnot. So my school of thought contrarian. That's how I've been taught as an economist, and also just actually how I started sort of my exposure with investing. It's always contrarian. So, you know how when you get news like this stock is at an all-time high, people ape in, and then I started realizing that when you ape in, that's when the stock prices seem to fall, and I was like, huh. And then I basically did a whole deep research into it, and then the answer was so simple. It's just that shareholders with a lot of stocks just sold it off so that they could make money. And I was like, wow, that is so wow. Why did I think of that? It's so simple the moment you say it in a sentence, but then until you know it, or until someone says that to you, you don't understand what in the world happened, right? And that's sort of why I'm a contrarian. Uh, when your Uber is telling you to buy a stock, it's time to sell. Exactly. Yeah, look into it. So read up on contrarian trading strategies. I know most of YouTube is trend following, so there are only a few contrarians that I know, like outright contrarians. So I know Tyler Hill and Connor Kenny are contrarian. Those are like the only two big names that I know are contrarian. Yeah. I think most people are going to be trend following. They'll be like, oh, wait for the retest. And to be fair, even I say wait for the retest. So there are times where I do trend following, but I still look at where's liquidity stacked up to, which is why overall I'm bullish, whereas some are just going to be outright telling you it's a bear market, just short the shit out of everything, right? Yeah, when your Uber's telling you to buy a stock, it's time to sell. That's usually when. But yeah, I still got 3 minutes, so if there are any last minute questions, let me know. And by the way, this session is recorded, so I'll try to get it uploaded as soon as possible. But sometimes Handbrake takes a while to really minimize the size. These recordings end up being like 5 gigabytes big or 6 gigabytes big, which is insane. But I get it. It's a 1 hour 30-minute video, and then when I finally get it sort of reduced, it's like 70 megabytes. Like, why couldn't it just be that from the start? But so I'll try to get this uploaded into class recordings ASAP, and yeah, you can go back and rewatch it. Yeah, thank you so much, and have a wonderful Christmas Eve. What do you think? Oh, how far in lower time frames do you think the oscillators are viable to look at? I know you don't like. Yeah, I mean, I look at them at 5 minutes for scalps. Maybe for intraday, 15 is how low I would go personally. Because 5 minutes, 1 hour has a little bit too much noise. So like 15 and 4 hour, and then if I think that it's like a little bit more than a day but less than a week, I do 30 minutes 4 hour to really consolidate that 15 minute. Yeah, 15 minutes intraday, 30 minute swing, and then a 12 hour as a or 4 hour as a position, or 12 hours as a position. That's what I do. But yeah, it looks like there are 2 minutes left. Now, I will end it at 11. It's 11:30 for me, but it's gonna be like, what is it, 10:30 for you guys? Yeah, 10:30 for you guys. So yeah. So again, general thesis. Let's go back to my macro scale. I won't leave you guys hanging. And expect me to continue sending signals throughout the holidays. I'm not really gonna rest. And again, this is my hobby, so I love making money as a hobby, and or no, I love that my hobby is making money as well. I love that my hobby happens to also generate me money. Like that is useful, and that's a wonderful hobby, right? It also teaches you about psychology, blah 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 blah. But essentially, what I think is on this trend line, right? We wick, we get above it, we close above it, and then we trust this. Potentially, we even get another week of dumping. But what I do like is that our MVP ribbon is weakening in terms of bearish strength, and so I do think we're killing the bearish momentum on the 1 week, and we've got some more upside. I don't know if it's going to happen within December. We're probably looking closer to a spill into January. But with that said, again, I remain overall bullish unless we lose 75, or we lose the dynamic reactor, in which case we're going to fall to our 200-week moving average. And then, our quantum reactor is not here yet. But yeah. So with that said, it is 10:30 EST. So thank you guys for joining me on the show. A Merry Christmas evening to all of you, wherever you are in the world, and thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So with that said, I am Langestrom, and don't forget to use a stop loss. I'll see you guys next week on December 30 for another 1 hour 30-minute show. I'm gonna do it at 3 a.m. in the morning, but it's the grind. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye guys. Thank you for joining me. Take care.